So Peter Davison, who was 29 years old at the time when he started playing the Fifth Doctor, it's been quite a change.
That's the trouble with regeneration. You never quite know what you're going to get.
So this Doctor has an interest of cricket. He puts on his cricket outfit.
Well, I suppose I'll get used to it in time.
Which actually does suit that version of the Doctor. And then when he gets a chance, when he goes down to Earth, he goes play cricket, doing something that he enjoys doing in that incarnation. What's so great about this portrayal is his innocence, humorous, playful, and caring to his companions.
I told her she had full powers until I return.
You're not going back?
You know, sometimes, Tegan, you take my breath away.
And it's so easy to buy the fact that it's a 900-year-old ancient Time Lord inside a 30-year-old man's body.
I'm definitely not the man I was. Thank goodness.
And the fact he puts a stick of celery on his jacket, it's pretty fashionable.
Definitely civilization.
It's a nice celebration.
As a present, the celery turns purple.
And then what do you do?
I eat the celery.
So this version of the Doctor started off with 4 in the TARDIS. So we've got Nessa, who's lost everything because of the Master. She's intelligent and she would stick up for the Doctor.
Oh, thank you, Nissa. It was brilliant, by the way, quite brilliant.
Tegan Jovanka is Australian. She's desperately want to get back to Heathrow Airport. She's so bossy and she'll just argue with anyone.
Call yourself a Time Lord? Broken clock keeps better time than you do. At least it's accurate twice a day.
But after, when she loses her job, she's pretty happy to travel with the Doctor. Adric is a mathematical genius. He's from Alzarian in E-Space. He's been around the Doctor longer than Nessa and Tegan, and there's a shocking scene where Adric dies. Which really shocked many viewers for 1980s and pretty traumatizing.
Now I'll never know if I was right.
Because it's very rare that companions killed off. And how he died was the freighter who crashed into the Earth in prehistoric times in Earthshock. That was planned by the Cybermen. Mara is a pretty cool, alien snake. I mean, Tegan throughout Kinder is actually sleeping around with Mara inside her head. They're from the dark places and they go inside people's dreams.
Same design. They would.
Why?
Because we're the same.
But as its physical form and surrounded by mirrors, it is absolutely pretty terrifying, and it wouldn't surprise me if it scares 1980s kids.
Is that the Mara's true form?
Yes.
And then the next time you see Mara was Snake Dance, and the fact that Tegan is possessed is pretty terrifying, and I think Janet Fielding really pulled it off.
Is it? Well, look now.
And it had some scary cliffhanger when Brian Miller, who was Elizabeth Sladen's husband, encountered with the possessed Janet Fielding and Martin Clunes.
I'm not going to harm you. Look at me.
It was so creepy and utterly, utterly terrifying. The Visitation has Richard Mace, who's an actor from 17th century. I absolutely love Richard Mace.
Nonsense, sir. That glow is a conjuring trick. I'm a man of the theatre. I'm not impressed by trickery, however clever it is.
The actor who plays him is so entertaining.
How does this android, as you call him, come from another world. There are no other worlds. Any fool knows that.
It also features a scary Grim Reaper.
You fire that beam of yours, you'll turn this house into an inferno.
And the reptilian humanoids known as the pteroleptals. And I think for the low budget, that animatronic is pretty good.
Welcome, Doctor.
You were expecting me.
I was expecting my android.
It's also really sad to see Sonic Screwdriver getting destroyed, because after a while he gets so attached to that gadget, and I think that's what the story was probably known for.
Isn't my day, is it? I feel as though you've just killed an old friend.
Then at the end, that's where it based on a true story, where the Pudding Lane started fire in London.
I'll explain someday.
The Cybermen unexpectedly return at the end of Earthshock Part 1 was definitely a great surprise for everyone. It's really sad that they can't pull it off anymore because of the internet.
Destroy them!
They're still pretty scary as they march. And still pretty menacing as the flesh and blood are in a suit of armour and their emotions removed. The fact that you can see the guy's mouth moving, which is actually a good design because it shows that that they're humanoids converted.
This time we shall succeed, and you will live just long enough to witness it.
I love the bit where the Doctor tells Cyber Leader about the emotions and what human life is all about.
When did you last have the pleasure of smelling a flower, watching a sunset, eating a well-prepared meal?
These things are irrelevant.
For some people, small, beautiful events is what life is all about.
Peter Davison really did pull that off, and at that point you'd be like, yep, that is the Doctor. The Master throughout 1980s is played by Anthony Ainley, and I think he's a good Master. He plays it so evil, he plays it pretty menacing, and he loves his evil plans.
I am the Master, and you will obey me.
He has a good laugh as well. And the truth is, he never learns from his mistakes.
How gratifying to do it 3 times over. Nice to see you again.
And the Master loves his disguise as well. Season 20 is pretty much the celebration of 20th anniversary. You have the return of Omega. The Black Guardian. Mara. And the Master.
Oh, my dear Doctor, you have been naive.
The next companion the Fifth Doctor has was Tolo. He was working for the Black Guardian to kill the Doctor. But he didn't want to, but Black Guardian is making him doing so.
Will be destroying one of the most evil creatures in the universe. He calls himself the Doctor.
So eventually, as Black Guardian's defeated, he finally realised what side he's on. And I absolutely love that character. I think him with Tegan and the Fifth Doctor are amazing TARDIS team. Ah yes, the Chameleon. He was the shape-shifting robot controlled by the Master.
Impressive.
A weapon used by the invaders of Zelf as a decoy.
To impersonate King John. The Chameleon has become the Doctor's companion. I am really sad that he only appeared in 2 stories.
That's the foundations of parliamentary democracy. Will never be laid.
In the second and final one, he became possessed by the Master. And at one point he does turn into the Master as well. And it was such a heartbreaking scene when the Doctor had to kill Chameleon with the Master's tissue compression by Chameleon's request.
Destroy me. Please.
It really hits me hard. The Five Doctors is one of the classic era stories I've seen, and it's so cool to have a multi-doctor story, like having previous Doctors return and having them sharing the screen time together. As well as bringing back the old companions. And it's a shame that Tom Baker didn't show up, and they only used the clip of Sharda that wasn't completed at the time. And I think Richard Hundle does a good job pulling off the portrayal of William Hartnell, as he does look and sound a bit like him.
As it happens, I am the Doctor. The original, you might say.
And I think he certainly pulled off the scene where he was eating pineapple. It was also brilliant to have the returning monsters, First Doctor and Susan, outrun the Dalek. Second Doctor and Brigadier encountering with the Yeti. The Third Doctor and Sarah Jane watches a cool scene where Raston Warrior Robot destroys all Cybermen. What's so pretty gross seeing Cyberman vomiting is the fact that it could be the remains of humanoids. Ugh. It makes it so grim, and you'd be thinking that the Master was behind all this, like bringing the incarnations of the Doctor and his old companions on Gallifrey to play the dangerous games, and some could believe it could be Rassilon, but it reveals to be President Barusa.
You see, Brucer? Together we're a match for you.
Perhaps, but you will never overcome me.
We don't need to.
As a result, Rassilon suspended Barusa and everyone's back home. The Warriors of the Deep is the return of Silurians and Sea Devils, and fighting people at the sea base from the future.
And these human beings will die as they have lived, in a sea of their own blood.
They also bringing the giant monster known as the Merca. I actually don't think it's a bad design. The fact that the paint is still wet, the creature does look pretty convincing. I actually think the skin and the design does look like a real sea creature skin. Also, the Daleks and Davros came back. With the atmospheric being more horror and morbid, and pretty shouty.
Exterminate! Exterminate! Exterminate!
And as they're reintroducing Davros, he is performed by Terry Malloy in 3 stories.
Under my control, the Daleks shall once more become triumphant!
And I have to be honest, I would say Terry Malloy is my favourite actor to play Davros. He's so scary, pretty threatening, mad, and the style actually does suit Davros.
My Daleks shall once more become the supreme being!
And he's evil, and he really loves his plan so much, and he absolutely hates it if it doesn't go down as planned. And I think he did it really well. And I love the scene where the Doctor was going a bit dark as he pointed the laser gun at Davros, because the fact that he was planning to kill Davros, he wasn't so sure, and well, he didn't do it at the end.
If I were you, I would be dead.
I lack your practice, Davros.
The Caves of Androzani is a fantastic story. It's got a great story, action sequence, and great atmosphere. It gives the Fifth Doctor a good send-off, sacrificing his life to save Perry.
Interesting.
Where is it?
What?
The bat smell.
finished. Only enough for you.
Shiraz Jek is, he's pretty mad and villainous, but he still has the heart in the right place.
And the stimulus of a mind nearly equal to my own.
Thank you.
Because even then, he still looks after Perry. And I think the music soundtrack is a great fitting for the story, especially the Sand Planet and the Poisonous Cave. And I can see why Peter Davison picks that as his favourite story.
Of course I can find the antidote! I owe it to my friend to try because I got her into this! So you see, I'm not gonna let you stop me now!
And then during his regeneration scene, you'd be so sad to see him go. He was so caring to Perry. He used up the last of the cure for poisonous by the Spectrox, which resulted in him regenerating.
I might regenerate. I don't know.
And just like Tom Baker's regeneration scene, the past companions gets a flashback, except you've got like floating heads like flying around the Doctor.
You know that.
You mustn't die, Doctor.
You know that.
Adric?
And then you got the Master telling the Doctor to die. And then as he laughs, and then the effects just comes up, and then Colin Baker sits up.
You're expecting someone else?
I do think Peter Davidson's a great Doctor, and he's the Doctor that my dad grew up with.